All right. Well, ladies, I am thrilled to be here with our next summit speaker. Listing Queens, get ready. Get your freaking pens and paper out because this guy is really, really amazing. And I'm going to introduce you to Levi Lascsak. He has a new book out and he is just a top agent and a top guy. So hi, Levi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. All right. Have lots of questions to unpack. You are the YouTube expert and you're a top realtor. And I love how you also call yourself a video creator. And one of the things that these women realtors are learning in this Listing Queen Summit is that we have to stop being consumers and start being creators. So I love that you have that in your kind of bio, right? So
Mhm.
talk to us about how you started. I know your 2-year anniversary is coming up. You started your channel April of 21. Can you just talk to us about what made you do that?
Well, it was actually December of 2020 is whenever we started the channel. April was whenever we closed the first two transactions.
Okay.
So it took about 90 days to get the first two deals under contract. And then we closed those two deals in April of 2021. So if you think about this, I did not sell a single home in 2020, did not sell a single home in the Q1 of 2021. So April closed first two transactions ever. And what happened was that I got into real estate because I had a very successful financial services business that I've been building up for the last 5 years. I had contracts with all of Dallas Independent School District. I worked with all the teachers on the retirement planning. So I felt like it was a very noble cause because I was helping teachers, plan properly for their retirement. And I had a teacher schedule, but like 5 times the teacher's income. So it was very fun. But at the same time, I was very comfortable because I worked about 8 months of the year and the rest of the time I would travel. And I went to 24 countries inside of 3 years and was just really enjoying life. And then the world shuts down in April of 2020. March, April of 2020, school shut down, and of course travel shuts down. So the two things that were the main parts of my life completely closed. And so I just sat there and I had no idea when were schools going to open back up. Nobody was thinking about investing. They were actually starting to pull money out of accounts to pay for things. And so I had to just sit there over the summer of 2020 and ask myself some very tough questions, which is, oh, what's the next step? What am I going to transition into? I'm 41 years old. How do I start over without starting over? So it was very surreal. I mean, it was just like, how did I get to this point in my life where I was, at the peak and everything was running smoothly. And then it's literally comes to a screeching halt. So, I've always admired real estate, always loved real estate. I dabbled in it as in a part-time investor. I did some fixer flips here or there. I had some Airbnbs and rentals, but nothing to really generate a full-time income for myself. And the reality was that because I never wanted to be a real estate agent. I've got a lot of friends that are real estate agents, and they've tried to get me in for a very long time, 20 years to be exact. I've got one friend that has been trying to get me to be an agent since like 2002. And I was like, I don't want to be a real estate agent. I know how hard they work. So and they don't have a life. Those are all my perceptions, right? Somebody, meeting people in Starbucks and saying, oh, what are you doing here? Getting coffee? Well, here's my card. So I thought that was what a real estate agent does. And so I was like, you know what? But I knew real estate was always a very strong business to be in. And so I started to ask myself, well, if I'm going to transition or move into real estate, how do I do that? How do I do that and not have to get stuck in cold calling and door knocking? And, which nothing wrong with those things. They do work and they can be effective. I was just looking for a different path because I've been prospecting, which is the premise of the book, right? Passive prospecting. I've been prospecting my entire sales career. I've been in sales for the last 20 years, love sales, but I hated prospecting because I felt like I always spent 90% of my time prospecting. And I was always the best at sales because I was the best at prospecting. I was relentless on prospecting, but I know how hard that is. And so when, I was thinking about moving into real estate, it was not intriguing to me at all to think about trying to build a business again from scratch by prospecting. And I was just like, okay, is there a different way? Can I attract business? Is there a way to bring it to me? And I didn't understand. I didn't think of the term passive prospecting at that time, but that's really what I was thinking about. We all love the idea and the concept of passive income, but we know that, what does that really mean? It really means freedom. In my opinion, passive income means freedom to allow you to do the things you want to do when you want to do them. But, why do we have to actively pursue that through prospecting until we get there? What if we could develop some sort of system or process that we could also put the prospecting side, in a format to where it can work for us instead of us working for it, And so that's what I started to really research over the summer of 2020. And that was another thing, like going out and meet and greets and networking events weren't even coming around at that time. So it was like, okay, I'm going to have to do something online regardless. I've been antisocial up to this point. Again, I was 41 at that time, and I'd gotten by the last 20 years without social media. I was a traditional salesperson, a traditional marketer, which was kind of like, meet my people face to face, one-on-one. And that was something else that I didn't want to get caught up in that cycle, because what I realized over the last 20 years is that every time I woke up, every single day, I had to start over again. I had to have the same conversations with this different people, just over and over and over again. And that always made me feel a little guilty, especially whenever I took time off or, vacation or things like that. Even though I love to do that stuff, it would still be in the back of my mind, like I'm not generating business right now. And so I just didn't want to be a part of that moving forward. I wanted to attract business. I wanted to duplicate myself. I wanted to put some systems and processes in place, but I wasn't sure how. But I figured that would be through social media. So that's why I started to research all the different platforms and try to figure out, one in particular. I did have that understanding as well. I really wanted to try to figure out one platform. I didn't want to try to become the guru of 5 different platforms, because I feel like I would have ended up putting 20% effort into, 5 different platforms instead of 100% into one. And I figured if I can master one, it'll be a lot easier to branch off into the other platforms, once you get one under control. So I just did a lot of research and asked myself some very tough questions, and what value could I bring? And if I started to do that, and as I just started to look into it, of course, I came across video. A lot of people were talking about TikTok in 2020 just because everybody was waking up with 10,000 followers, it seemed like, and so that was kind of like a big craze. Instagram, Facebook, none of those really fit well with my personality. I didn't really see where I fit into those platforms, but they were my first go-tos because that's what most people were talking about. And really, nobody was really talking about YouTube, which also kind of intrigued me, well, nobody's talking about YouTube. And then I thought, is there a gap in the market there? Because if I'm going to move in, especially in Dallas, Texas, where I'm at, thousands and thousands and thousands of agents, a lot of them well-established over the last 10, 20, 30 years. And how am I going to, get my slice of the pie? How am I going to slip in there? Is there any gap at all? Or has everything been done? Has everybody figured out every ways to market? And so, and I didn't want to do traditional marketing. I would open up my local magazine, and I counted one time like 135 different real estate agents in that magazine, So it's like, what am I going to do by putting my picture in there next to 135 other people? Is anybody just going to pick me out, just based on a picture and a house, or, best agent in Dallas, which I wasn't even, I wasn't. So I was like, well, so I just started really dig into YouTube, and that was my last choice, or, the last platform I really started to look at. But then I realized, it's a search engine. It's not a social media platform. And people are on there looking for information, directly typing in info and trying to discover neighborhoods and areas. And so, it was just one thing led to another. And then what I realized was, maybe I don't have to be the best agent because I hadn't even done a transaction yet. And so maybe, but I do know Dallas. I've been in Dallas for 20 years. What if I could start making videos about the areas that people are actually searching? Because people are not really going onto YouTube and typing in best real estate agent in Dallas. They're not looking for that. They're directly typing in about suburbs and neighborhoods and areas and things to do. And so I was like, well, I can talk about that all day long because I've lived it. I've done that. And so it had nothing to do with transactions. It had nothing to do with being the top salesperson. It had nothing to do with years and years of experience as an agent. I just started to deliver value about the area through video. And as I started to go through that, it made me realize, well, think about it. Anytime somebody calls you, no matter what type of marketing you have out there, they typically never say, hey, can you tell me about how well you write contracts, or how many contracts have you written, or how, what's your production like, or what's the escrow process, or what's the title process, or what happens, what's the difference between it? They don't ask those questions. They usually call in and say, hey, great, we're thinking about making a move. Looking at these different areas. Yeah. Tell me about the areas, tell me about the neighborhoods, the schools, the safety. They start asking those questions. And so that I knew I could make video around that.
I love it. I have to say, I want to point out some of the things because I've been taking notes. Number one, you were very decisive. You wanted to discover the gap in the market because you weren't, you were entering a sea of competition. So I love that. Yes. And I love how you say you're relentless. Of course, my gosh, you need to be that. You wanted a different way. Of course, we all want to stand out. And that's exactly why we're showcasing you in this Listing Queen Summit. So you made decisions and you looked at your own personality. You knew that Facebook wasn't for you and Instagram, but yet you kind of looked there, but then it hit you, oh my gosh, what is not social media? In fact, it's actually a step better, a step above that. So I just love it. Now I want to go into your book. Okay, I'm going to say the name: Passive Prospecting, Dominate Your Market Without Cold Calling, Chasing Clients, or Spending Money on Ads. Hello, how perfect. Yeah. All right. So you just kind of shared with us, your thoughts on, passive income and the how it relates to passive prospecting. And women, your audience, and ladies, he's only one of a couple of men that I'm having on here, but because he's so full of value for us, because women typically hate all of that, right? Yeah. We don't want cold calling, and it's all about relationships. So I love how you say dominate your market, because that's really what listing queens or listing kings do. So can you talk to us about what are your main tenets or pillars within your book, The Passive Prospecting?
Yeah, thank you. So it's broken up into two parts. Part one is the passive prospecting principles. So what I do is I take the first 9 chapters to break down everything that you probably know about marketing and how YouTube completely turns that upside down. So I'm taking you step by step. Like chapter 1 is, interruption versus intention-based marketing. Basically, as business owners and as consumers, we've been marketed to by interruption marketing our whole lives. And that's probably, as a business owner, you moved into that and started interruption marketing. Well, what does that mean? That means it's interrupting people in the middle of what they're doing. Now, nothing wrong with that, but it usually takes a lot of time, energy, or money to market that way, because you can meet somebody at Starbucks and you shake their hand and you start talking about real estate. That's technically like interruption marketing, right? Because they're there for Starbucks, right? They're there for coffee. They're not there to talk real estate, but maybe you make a contact. But the thing is they may not be in the market for 18, 24, 36 months down the road. I mean, maybe they just bought a house. So what happens then? Okay, well, we've interrupted with them, but now we have to put them in our database, follow up with them, try to build a relationship with them. And we don't even know when they are likely going to be actually in the market. And so we're doing all that, cold calling, that's why none of us like to receive a call in the middle of dinner. It's interrupting what we're doing. You're driving down the road, you see billboards. Technically, that's like interrupting your drive. And you're not, most people I know don't stop and pull over and be like, oh, thank God I saw that billboard. I need this product right now. So all that's interrupting us. But, if you run out of dog food, none of us want Fluffy to die. And so now we're like, okay, I have to go to the store and I'm going to buy dog food. Right now you have full intention to buy dog food because it's now become a need. Well, that's the same thing in real estate. What if you could be in front of the people that are intentionally looking for real estate at the time that they're ready to make a decision and make a move versus, just trying to collect as many names as possible and put them in your database and try to build relationships with them that way. That can be effective, and it has worked for a lot of people. Nothing wrong with that, but it's also it's what puts a lot of people out of business because it's very hard way. Oh yeah, it's very, very difficult to start up. You know, and that's why a lot of people do end up failing out of the business. But also that comes with a ton of rejection. It comes with all kinds of things that just kind of get in the way. So just something like that, just that simple concept of, think about when somebody's on YouTube now and they're typing in, what's it like to live in Dallas? That if we can get in front of that person, that's why our average contact to contract for under contract last year, out of all of our deals, we did 186 transactions last year, was 51 days. So the first time anybody ever reached out to us getting them under contract, we averaged 51 days because they were all intentional, you know, and they reached out to us. Like, that's another chapter in the book, inbound versus outbound. So it's like, you could be outbound, you could be making cold calls and door knocks, but that's why it has such a low conversion rate, because again, it ties into interruption marketing, but also you have to go through these huge numbers to get very small results, as to where our conversion rates are around 10%. We've averaged between 10 to 15%. So would you rather talk to 100 people to get one deal, or 10 people to get one deal?
Oh my gosh,
And
I'm freaking out. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just have to say, okay, so your YouTube channel is called Living in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
yes.
Living in Dallas, Texas. Okay.
Yep.
So when you were back in 21 or 2021, when you started this channel, so what were you thinking? Okay, if I were going to move to Dallas, or if I wanted to upsize, or if I wanted to downsize, is that how you came up with your video content and video creation? And the second question then would be, because you sound very proactive, right? So it's like proactive passive prospecting, because you said you didn't want to wake up and have to do it all again, because everything is cataloged like a library, right?
Yep.
So your
Yep.
library, your beautiful library, is showcasing you on your YouTube channel. So
Yes.
I'm just wondering if you could like chat more about that, you know, how you can decide the name of your YouTube channel, the specific videos that showcase your town, and what are your most, I know it's kind of a loaded question, but, and then
No.
your most engaged with, or where your prospects are coming from, you know, within that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really based a lot on search results, and that's the thing, is you can get software that shows you search results on YouTube, and so now I know exactly what people are searching for. I know that living in Dallas, Texas was one of the top search terms, and through my research, which by the way, I researched YouTube for about 60 days before I really developed a plan, and I built out a business plan to get started. So that's the other thing. You treat these platforms like a hobby, they'll pay like a hobby. You treat them like a business, they'll pay like a business. So I studied the platform for about 60 days. Then I put together a business plan on everything that I learned and how I was going to start my channel. So it was very intentional, you know, it was very strategic. I didn't just say, okay, I'm going to start making videos and put them out there and see what happens, which is what, you know, a lot of people will do. And then they wonder why they get 3 views, you know, on their video. And so you have to optimize videos. But the thing is that I looked at search terms. I knew nobody was searching Levi Lascsak, you know, but nobody knew who I was. I had 0 brand. And so why would I name the channel that? And it just doesn't, I would rather somebody come there and see that it's value and information driven first, and then the video will build the relationship for me. So I don't have to sell myself. I have to sell the information. And if people get caught up and they watch a second or third or fourth video, they're going to develop a relationship with me through that video. So that's what's also going to prompt them to reach out. So then I just started looking at different areas. I looked at all the suburbs. What's the most searched suburb? To my surprise, it was not the ones that I assumed were the most searched. And so then I started making content around the most searched suburbs first, because that's where the traffic is at. And so, you know, if you have a food stand and you don't have to have great food, you don't even have to have a great location, but if you have got a starving audience around, right, they're going to come over and eat. So the thing is that if people are searching there, and then our videos can show up there based on the search results, because I know they're searching in Plano, Texas. And so I can make a video living in Plano, Texas. Well, guess what? That's going to match up whenever they search that. And they're going to say, hey, here's a video about living in Plano, Texas. Not, here's Levi Lascsak, the real estate agent. Let me sell you on why, you know, I'm the best agent in Dallas and why you should work with me. And, you know, that's all again, I think that's a way, that's a chapter in the book actually we call selfish versus service-based marketing. So service-based marketing means is that we're providing information up front, the content that people are already searching. Selfish-based doesn't mean you're intentionally selfish, but it means, if you look on our banner, our channel banner, it doesn't say Levi and Travis, Dallas real estate agents, buy, sell, or invest. You call us at our, our phone number and our email and, all our, so none of that. It says, subscribe to learn about living in Dallas, Texas. So that's a service-based banner, because if somebody comes there for the very first time, they're going to say, oh, this channel is about living in Dallas versus, oh, here's another real estate agent channel, that who knows, they're probably going to be showing me their open house and, boring stuff like that. So, it's all about service-driven marketing. And so it appeals to people. And as long as they're getting that information, they may not even like me at first, but we've all watched a TV show here or there that we didn't like the characters in the beginning, but then towards the end of the episode or the series or whatever the case is, we're like, oh, okay, that person's kind of cool after all. Oh, I actually like that person. Because once you kind of get to know them, through the video or through the content or the series, they're like, okay, great. Yeah, I like this person. When's season 2 coming out? So, that's what happens on video as well. So they don't even have to like me at first, but as long as the information keeps them there and the value keeps them there, then I think they develop a relationship with us by default. And so at the point they're ready to make a move, they're like, well, I've been watching all your videos anyways, I might as well give you a call. And so then, and then they call us. And so that's inbound. And whenever they call us, they pretty much made the decision they want to work with us. So we don't have to sell them on us and who we are and who's our team. They know that coming to us.
Yes. Okay. So of the 186 closings, so they all came from YouTube, because I would imagine you get YouTube people that love you, and then they are compelled to refer you, right? So I'm sure.
We did actually 154 were from YouTube. So yeah, the rest, about the other 30 were actually, referrals.
That's freak out amazing. Okay. So my next question to you was, all right, so women like you were an Iraq veteran, and I thanked you for your service. I'm going to thank you right here. I really appreciate that sacrifice. And so did you have any hesitation getting on video, or were you just like, vivacious and gregarious and like, let's go? You had no hesitation.
No, I didn't. But I will say for me, and I know some people will, and I think that just comes with muscle memory. It's anything else, starting a workout or starting a diet or starting getting your real estate license. It's very overwhelming in the beginning. Everything's always going to be drinking from a fire hydrant. So you have to just do it. I mean, you have to work through that, and your first video is not going to be that great probably. Now for me, I wasn't scared of the camera. I think what I had to develop was having a conversation with the camera. So I was so used to in-person sales, reading people, reading expressions, being interrupted, going back and forth, having dialogue. I did that all the time. But then you sit down in front of that camera and it doesn't say anything back. It doesn't blink, it doesn't shake its head. And so sometimes you could record a segment a minute or two and you're kind of like, well, I don't know, was that any good? Did I make sense? And so that as well just comes with time. It comes with repetition. It comes with just putting in the work that, now it's second nature to me. So I wasn't scared of the camera. I know a lot of people are, and so that's something that, you don't have to publish the first video or two you record either. You just need to get through it and make it happen. And then I wouldn't say overanalyze yourself to death, but you might want to review that and look at some things you can improve or do better, and watch a couple of videos on YouTube about making good videos on top of that. So, there's just ways to do that. If you want to grow and scale your business and get a lead generation machine in place that's working for you, then it's the best use of your time you could do. I mean, video is the best investment that you could possibly make and give back to yourself. It's going to return you so much time. And so, one video, for example, has been watched, over 12,000 hours probably now. It took me 30 minutes to make that one video. And so it's been watched over 12,000 hours. So to me, that's like making a profit of 11,995 hours, right? So the thing is that it's returned so much business and views for me, and that's equivalent. You divide that actually by 24 hours in a day, that's like 1.35 years.
Quite
So
a return on
that,
investment. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a very good return on investment. 30 minutes for 1.35 years. I'll take that any day.
Any day. I have maybe two more questions. The first one is, so I have clients and these women, some of them make 300 to 600,000, and they might have a little team. Okay. And yet, they're and so their life feels like overwhelmed in terms of they're good, meaning they have a lot of clients, but yet if they take vacation, shit. Okay. Like, oh my gosh, can I really do this? Can I really take vacation? And quite frankly, since it's all women, there's some divorces that come because, of all the work and the time and everything. So I just want you to kind of chat about, like, now that you and Travis are the face of that YouTube. I haven't even researched you this far, but I'm sure you have a team. You talk about a team. So it gets to the point where I want these women who are watching that are in that situation to understand the opportunity that's right in front of them so that they can be the front person. They're the ones that are already known. They already have amazing businesses. And if they could really jump into the YouTube space, and then they can have the buyers and listing agents there on their team, because I imagine, I don't know, talk to me about, like, what are you thinking about what I just said? Like, is that because the word scale, they can make, they can double, triple, quadruple their business, and they don't have to be in the day to day if they take on a strategy such as what you're describing.
That's right. Well, I'm in Cabo right now. So
Right.
I'm in Cabo, and guess what? I think we've had about 14 leads come in this week from the channel. So the thing is that the channel's working for me right now. It's constantly prospecting for me. It's passively prospecting because I'm not doing that. I had a video that published yesterday morning. I have a video that's publishing on Sunday. I go back on Sunday. So videos are already scheduled out, ready to go and publish. And so that is me. This video just came out, at 1,000 views already. It's like, how could you contact 1,000 people in one day? Yeah. And so you can't really, unless you had a team of people, and it'd be very hard for a team of people to do that as well, to make that many contacts. But I got that in views in the first day while I'm sitting here in Cabo, and it's just working for me. And then, the team is back home monitoring the phone, taking the calls and the emails and handling the clients. And it's as simple as if anybody asks for me, they just say, well, Levi's actually out filming right now, but I can help you out. Are you thinking of making a move? And so people are just happy to be working with our team and, the team within where the channel comes from. So, I haven't worked with a client personally. So, over the last 18 months. And so for me, it's been all about content, providing this opportunity for people to come to us. And I think if you feel like you're over leveraged, if you don't feel like you have time for this, then that's exactly why you should do it. Because if you don't have time to make video, then your time's probably not leveraged correctly. And if you feel guilty going on vacation or taking time off, or I think this is the best thing you could ever do for yourself and your family, because you can take the weekends off. If your videos are scheduled and ready and they're publishing, they're working for you. And it's the best thing in the world to be off on a Saturday or spending time with your family or being in Cabo and seeing leads still come in, So that's the beauty of it. And it works for you all the time. We get views, we'll get 70, 100 views at 3 a.m. Okay. So is anybody that prospecting at 3 a.m? No. Are you calling people in other states or other countries? Not likely. But guess what? We've already helped, I think, probably 8 families move from out of country. We've helped soldiers move from Japan and South Korea. We've helped families move from Australia and Belgium and the Philippines and South Africa. Why? It's not because we didn't market in those areas. We didn't send out postcards to South Africa. We didn't cold call Australia. They went searching. They want to move to Dallas or everywhere else in the US. And guess what they started to do? They go on YouTube and they start searching. So we have a global reach now, and we help people move from all over the world And, that's helped us attract a team as well. All of the agents on our team have come to us, and we've built that out. And so we have about 10 agents on the team right now to handle, that business. And so, we're able to do that, come to these conferences. That's why I traveled to 25 conferences last year, and
Wow.
I spoke at half of them, and the business still operated. Whenever I was at home, I made videos, and then I would go out on the road, and I was either speaking or attending to learn, to absorb as much information as I could, but also building relationships. So to be gone pretty much twice a month, all last year, and I think we even squeezed in a vacation, and we still produced 1,930 something leads,
That's
that.
amazing. And bravo. I just have to give you, really, ladies, listing queens, come on. YouTube is really the way to go. So how can people find you? I want them to get your book, Passive Prospecting, and where should they look for you? On YouTube.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they could also go to passiveprospecting.com, and we have, everywhere. If you just start searching passive prospecting, you should likely find us somewhere. So we have a Facebook group, we have the website, we have the book on Amazon now. So just, but the website, yeah, we've got some more information on there. We have Passive Prospecting YouTube channel. That's more for agent training, so that, people can find us there. But yeah, if you just search Passive Prospecting, we'll pop up somewhere.
Excellent. Thank you, Levi, so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jan.
All right. Bye.